guys. I just want to welcome you to our study of Art Nouveau, and this will be a 2 week study. This first part that I will go through today will be looking at the European beginnings of Art Nouveau and what happened across Europe. The following week, we will focus more specifically on the United States and how Art Nouveau played out in the United States. So during this time, amongst the European nations, there was a lot of political turmoil. We're kind of moving into the time period between 1890 and 1910, just before World War I. So there is some political turbulence along with modernization and just the manufacturing process and that changing. During this time, there were increases in scientific and medical knowledge. It was a time when Sigmund Freud and Jung were looking at the effect of the subconscious on humans, and it was just a time of great increase in knowledge, but some turbulence politically. That's why really this period does not last that long, due to the beginning of World War I. So this great period where you're going to see creative expression. This is one of my personal favorite periods. You'll just see this very beautiful, created, fluid style coming into being. During this time, too, the upper class and the middle class people were doing fairly well. This is the same period of time basically as the arts and crafts movement, although the lower class people of this time were not doing that well, financially or even health-wise. Working in the industrial revolutionary period produced a lot of illnesses and stress on the lower class workers of this time. So along with the arts and crafts movement, the kind of momentum for this movement was the Industrial Revolution. The European nations tend to want to kind of compete with each other, where the arts and crafts movement was started in Britain. The Art Nouveau movement began in France, and it was started by a shop owner, Siegfried Bing, in 1895, and he owned a small shop in Paris that featured art of the new era. And so he would collect current artwork, current accessories, and his store was named the Art Nouveau. And so that kind of coined the term Art Nouveau, sort of the design style for the new era. And an interesting fact about Art Nouveau, they did acknowledge historical precedent. So arts and crafts period, they did not want to even acknowledge historical precedent. Art Nouveau also welcomed the manufacturing process, where arts and crafts wanted everything handcrafted. Art Nouveau made use of the newly evolving manufacturing process. So there was a difference there between the two. The other thing that was critical during Art Nouveau was this thought of having all ends of the interior presented in a united fashion. So, like I mentioned, during the Victorian period, it was kind of very chaotic design from many different design eras, brought into one setting. And the Art Nouveau architects and designers really looked at every aspect of the interior, from the wall coverings to the color to the floor coverings to the accessories and furniture, that it all be harmonious again looking at the Japanese kind of principles of design, and everything would be in harmony with each other. So that was kind of a new viewpoint of these designers. Um, Art Nouveau was seen in architecture, in interior design, in furniture, even in graphic design, posters, jewelry, glassware, all over. I mean, in accessories and that, it was just a real trendy design style for a period of time. It was also a very European style. Um, the founders of the Art Nouveau movement really wanted a design style for the new era that was beautiful and functional and something brand new. Um, so designers and architects took the lead from William Morris and the arts and crafts movement, but kind of went in a completely different direction. Art Nouveau was very focused on the natural world. So, um, besides creating a cohesive environment, everything was kind of based off the natural world. And, that came out in the different motifs of this era. They were more organic in this style. They were, insects or flora or fauna were all possible motifs for the Art Nouveau style. So, the study of nature and botany was really looked at to produce beautiful interiors that reflect that organic style. Um, so, cherry blossoms, water lilies, dragonflies, all possible motifs from this design period. Um, the style was also very sensuous. Um, the female figure was part of the consideration of style, being more curvilinear. Also, they used very rich materials. So in the arts and crafts period, the predominant wood that was used was oak. And then in the Art Nouveau period, we move into more of the walnuts, the rosewood, and the mahogany woods, a richer, beautiful woods. And if you kind of observe the different designers, architects, and wood crafters that are in the lecture, you will see like great use of like inlay, marquetry, using a lot of rare and exotic materials for inlays in the furniture. Um, okay, so I'd like to think about publicity. How did this style become so popular and rapidly expand even to the United States? So we think about publicity in our day and age. We have way more access to worldwide trends, in the television and the internet. But in that day, publicity was really through exhibitions. So they had these international exhibitions, and the big one, the Exposition Universal in Paris of 1900, was the big exhibition that kicked off this design style. So architects, designers, craftsmen from all over Europe and the world would come to these expositions and kind of, note the current trends. Kind of like we would go to Neocon or some kind of exhibition, sorry, in Chicago. They would go to these international expositions. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing that right. Exposition. And so in this time, Siegfried Bing, the shop owner who started the Art Nouveau period, he had an exposition and highlighted these elements of the Art Nouveau design style. And so it became very, very famous during this time. The main countries that that really highlighted this design style were France, Belgium, Italy, and Spain. And in the lecture, I provide examples of architects and designers from these four countries. Although Scotland, Britain, Germany, and Austria also developed their own version of this style. And so each country developed a different take on this design style, as you will see in my lecture. And I've covered all the dominant European countries that developed and promoted this design style. So I hope you enjoy this lecture and this material as much as I do. I get really excited about Hector Jamard and some of the architects and designers of this period. And so I just invite you to study further in this area of the Art Nouveau period. And the next week we'll look at the United States and what developed here as far as Art Nouveau. Thank you.